All right. What's up, everyone? We are here with the Agent Kit Workshop, the Starknet Agent Kit Workshop. And in today's session, we're going to have it presented by Antiyro from KasarLabs. Small introduction. My name is Victor. I'm with Starkware. I'm an ecosystem team. And right now, we're working on a hackathon, on the Starkware Realms World Hackathon. That is ending in around 2 weeks. So it's on St. Valentine's Day. Deadline is on that date. And so we're running a bunch of workshops up until the deadline just to help you get started with the hackathon, get you going with agents on Starknet, and just get you going with building creative and cool launching applications. And so, yeah, this is the first workshop we're hosting, and it's the first workshop that we're hosting with the Agent Kit. And so today we have Antiyro from KasarLabs today who's presenting the Agent Kit. And he's going to go through the Codebase and go through some unique features and also why it's cool to have this agent kit on top of Starknet, and also what unique capabilities it enables. So we have a lot of cool content upcoming, and this is going to take around 30 to 45 minutes. So if you want to code along and also get into the Codebase, we're also going to show you the GitHub repository so you can just follow along with the code. And if you have any questions, just ask them in the comment section. We're streaming this only on X, so make sure that you have your questions ready. And whenever you have doubts, just send them over, and I'll show them on the screen, and then Antiyro here can present. So before we get started, the hackathon is still running. So as I said, it's ending in roughly a bit more than 2 weeks, and so you can still sign up. You can still create your application. You can still submit it whenever you want up until the deadline. It's through Luma, so the link will be shared after the stream. It's also pinned. It's a post that is pinned on top of the at the top of the Twitter page from Starkware. So just go ahead and join. There's a group chat. There's a private group chat for that hackathon. So if you have any questions on Eliza, on the Starknet Agent Kit, or also on Daydreams, or any other agent framework, just go ahead and shoot your questions. We're really here to help and help you get some pretty cool applications on Starknet. So yeah, without further ado, I'm going to give the stage to Antiyro, who's the founder of KasarLabs and who also created this agent kit a couple of weeks ago, and it's moving really fast. Every day there's a new integration, and we're going to see a lot more integrations, and also a lot more integration in terms of Starknet's unique capabilities, such as session keys, such as on-chain verification. So I'm speaking a lot. I'm going to give the stage over to Antiyro, and I'm going to let him run the show.
Thank you very much, Starknet. So, just to present myself, I'm Antiyro from KasarLabs. We are currently building Madara, the client for building actions, and recently we dropped also this agent kit. We did it pretty fast. We did some tests and we had something that was working really fine and that was really cool. And we have a clear vision about what Web 2 or Web 3 would look in the next, not even in the next 5 years, I could say like in the next year, in the next days, in the next months. I believe everything will change a lot, and we want Starknet to be part of it. That's why we built that kit. I think I will divide this in 3 steps. First of all, I will show you how it works. Then I will show you how to add some tools and also how to use it in your own applications as an npm package. So let me show you. I'm almost sure you can see my screen. So yeah, this is the agent kit we have. So we dropped the repository. It's under our organization. You can already use it, but you have to note some stuff first. First of all, we wanted to have a monorepo so that anyone could benefit from it, either as a server using an SGS server, so that anyone could just launch the agent endpoint and expose it anywhere. Talking about exposing it, we dropped the client. Some people from the ecosystem asked us to drop the client in the repo so that you can test it easily. And then we have the npm package so that anyone can implement it in their own kit, in their own applications on Starknet. So the idea here is I'm almost sure you know about the Codebase Agent Kit, the Solana Agent Kit. There's also other initiatives that I will talk about later, maybe Daydreams or other stuff. The idea here is really to improve both user experience and dev experience. So what we have is this kit. I will go through the code base, don't worry. I will go around it and explain you clearly what does what. But we have this code base that we can launch easily with this command that will, as you can see, it will deploy the interface so that you can easily communicate with your agent, and the backend, the Nest.js server that you can also use. Let me show you how it looks like here. So you just clone the Starknet Agent Kit repo. You get this. You're able to install dependencies and run the client with the Nest.js server. The client is exposed on port 3000. It's customable. Everything is customable. That's something that we really wanted, so that you can either use it for Starknet mainnet, for app chains also, because we are really into the Starknet stack and we want to make everything compatible. So to make it work, it's really simple. The configuration is really simple. What you need, apart from the basic config that you can then customize, is a private key and a public address. Here you can see this is a Sepolia private key, by the way. So don't you can still get the funds, but it won't cost anything. But just to show you the entire flow, I wanted to give you the clear configuration. Here you need a private key, a public address, an RPC URL, an API provider, an AI provider, its model, and the provider API key. So right now we support Gemini, Claude, OpenAI, and open source models like Llama. We want to implement DeepSeek. We've seen the crazy things it does recently, and we will implement it really soon. But I will also talk about that later. I prefer to use Anthropic because of its 200 billion parameters, which are working pretty fine with Langchain right now. So in this example, I will use Anthropic. So I have this configuration that you could set. You can follow along, and what happened is that it will instantiate my agent locally, expose the API endpoint, and then I can directly communicate with my agent. So let's see first of all what's my public address. As you can see, I'm sending raw text. So yeah, the server received it. Sorry, yeah. The server received it, received a request about what's the public address. Right now, I'm doing this example as the Nest.js endpoint. This is my public address. Let's see, for example, what are my funds? What is my head balance? So this agent uses Langchain. As you may know, Langchain is a framework for you not to create not for the agent to trust an agent on how to generate a swap function, but to trust an agent on selecting the right swap function that it's already implemented. The idea here is that we want to have a framework that can do almost everything on Starknet on a higher level. This is for users, like, for example, here you can see a user, like someone could just like, what's the last block number, like someone that never used an RPC endpoint can just let me check if he knows the chain. I hope so, because we also implemented yeah, he knows that we're on Sequoia. What chain are you? On one chain are you now? So what happened here is that when I ask for the chain, he will assume that I'm trying to get the chain ID based on the available tools I provided, and so he will call the right tool. As I say, the goal here is to really call the right, ask the model to call the right tool, so that then you can implement everything. For me, I talked recently about daydreams. I don't know if some of you did your research on it. Daydream is crazy. Daydream allows you to basically, during its process, generate actions, generate interactions, so that it can chain operations better. One limit we have with Langchain is that, for example, if I ask him what are my balances with an S, my agent will recursively go through the balances tool. Okay, there's a bug, but basically he will recursively go through the balances tool and for each tokens query my tools. This is something that is called chaining operations. And the goal of this is that, for example, you could have at some point someone saying like bridge one hit from Ethereum to this address, and then swap it and lend it on ZK land, DCA and Avenue, all this in one prompt. Right now, doing this could lead to hallucinations. So what Daydream does is that during the process, he will know how to generate the right methods, the right interactions to play with the prompt. The thing is that, in my opinion, we like imagine you have you at some point, I assume we will have planes running with AI, and to have those planes running with AI with real passengers, it will take probably more than 10 years for us to trust those planes. And in my opinion, for like swap, for example, big swaps, lending, borrowing, like swapping 50K on Avenue, for example, for me, I prefer to use a predefined function that is sectioned by a 200 billion parameter model than to trust a generative function that could hallucinate on, for example, sending one hit instead of one USDC. So to be clear on that, our goal is different than the one from Daydreams. I think we are complementary. At some point, we could imagine, I don't know, a user interface, a Starknet agent, where you can just generate stuff for non-critical interactions, trust methods for critical interactions, and have the entire a way to communicate with the entire ecosystem. So as I told you, we are able to we allow our agents to select the right tool. For that, what we have is that let me show you. Yeah, I'm gonna explain you a bit the repository. So what we have here is our library. Our library is the main point for you to implement methods, for you to extend the agent kit functionalities, or for you to understand what are the current functionalities. Those functionalities are called methods. They are tools for Langchain, and they are divided by categories. For example, here in dApps, you could either use DeFi on Avenue and use the right tools to, for example, swap on Avenue, just fetch the roots, approve, do many things that Avenue can do right now. Or for example, for degen stuff, you could create a meme coin, verify if this is an unruggable meme coin. Everything is really divided by categories. Our goal at some point will be to support the entire ecosystem. In my opinion, this can be done, but this can only be done with the contribution of this ecosystem, so that we really wanted to split all the folders in the best way possible, so that others could benefit from implementations. That's why we have this lib for methods. This lib calls a repo, a folder that is called core. So, for example, imagine someone implemented the Avenue swap. They could benefit from its ABI, from its constants, like all the core stuff, the types and everything. The utils are stored in core, so that someone could easily implement a method. Let's get, for example, I don't know, the transfer method. Here, if I go to my agent kit, let's hope it works. Yeah, I will get an address, a Sepolia address. Yep. And what's my head balance again? Let me check. He received the request. He's processing. My head balance is 0.01 ETH. Could you transfer 0.005 ETH to this address? So we have this transfer method. Let me show you let me wait for the right results. The AI got some context, so that you could, let me show you. At first, we gave the agent some context. We don't want that context to be big, because the bigger it is, like, we won't be asking him, for example, to put 6 decimals for USDC or USDT, put 18 decimals for 8 and all. Like in the context, what we want in the context is a clear way for him to act, not for him to handle operations. The operation should be clearly defined, clearly implemented inside the methods. So right now, for example, transaction successful. You can review it here. I believe, yeah, he assumed it was on mainnet, but we are on Sepolia. Yep, here we go. This is the transaction I just did. I transferred 0.5 ETH to this address. So we gave him a context to always return transaction hashes when you execute something. We also want him to be really clear. No lengthy apologizes. We want to keep it really technical, so that anyone could get the information really fast. One thing here is that for the transfer, you can see, for example, we have this transfer function, which is a method we implemented as an example. So the transfer method is implemented right under the methods. And what we do is that we bring this transfer method to what we call the tool registry. In the tool registry, right now, this will change a lot. The kit is quite early. What we want at some point is to allow Langchain for better to chain operations better. So we will have many categories. Also, I will talk about later how in your front end you could just restrict the agent to use your tools, giving the example of what we will be doing on ArtPiece. I don't know if you know the pixel war on Starknet. You will be able to place pixels thanks to the agent. I will go back to this later on. But basically, you have what we call schemas, what we call tools. And those tools are based on schemas. For example, for the transfer schema, what we do is that we specify the right parameters. Here, the recipient address, the amount, and the symbol. If I ask him, can you transfer, let's say like 0.1 to this address, he will be missing one parameter. And I have to transfer 0.1, but I need to know which token symbol. And here, it detects it because the transfer schema is well done, like well specified. So the idea for you is that if you want to implement a tool, it's really easy. We will be adding, we have a documentation that will be releasing really soon, I hope this weekend, where you can easily add your own tools, add your own contributions. I don't know, we can go crazy on that, like interaction. I know that other chains do mostly like Twitter interactions, Discord plugin. We can add everything can be added to the kit, and for that we just have to add your method, your schema, and the tool. That's all. Then you will have to do a PR, and we will have to accept it. But that's all. So it's really simple for you right now to implement new capabilities to the agent. And the goal will be at some points to support the entire network and more. If, for example, right now we are implementing the bridging from Ethereum, we could imagine that we could go on other chains, that we could automate stuff for more than those interactions. RPC methods, for example, we have most of the RPC methods implemented. Those RPC methods are off-chain, so we can also have off-chain interactions. Everything is possible. The one thing you've seen here is that I'm doing something really bad, which is loading my private key to the agent. I think for me it's important right now to talk about some security concerns of that. If Anthropic says that they don't store private keys, they don't share sessions between users, but for some reason, and anyway, you should never use an HTTP request filled with your private key. And this is what happened here. We are loading our private key to the agent. So we are already in touch with the foundation. The goal here will be to add some security layers. Here, for example, the first one that will come next week is one leveraging what we call SNP9 and meta transactions. The goal is really simple. What happened is that when a user does a transfer on Avenue, for example, a swap, we could have, for example, them implementing a prompt relying to their own agent, their own API agent, easily implemented with the NPM package I will show you later on. And they will, when a user asks to swap 10K, for example, 10K USDC to it or to Stark, there will be a pop-up from Agent that will just, what happens is that the front end will just do the request for the backend. The AI will select the right tool, will send the call data with the missing signature because we will not share the private key with it because you don't want to share the private key to the prompt. And a pop-up will just fill out the signature for this transaction. So there will be a human approval on this one. In my opinion, this is a provisory solution. I highly believe that AI is moving really fast and that at some point we won't have any pop-ups. We will have an approval still because right now on Revolut and other high-level interfaces on Web2, we still have approvals, but we will be able to share our private key to the agent. So this is a provisory solution that we will put in place next week. We already implemented it, but we need to clean it. We will put that in place next week to have dApps in production. But at some point, we would like to trust the model to play with our phones without having to really approve, without having to sign with a pop-up with your Agent wallet. So I won't go into details right now, but there are many solutions like MPC, TSS for just decoupling your private key and not sharing it to the agents. We also want to avoid hallucinations by having concurrential models. What happened is that is something I think that O1 Pro already does is like they run 5 models, and if one hallucinates, they abort. For example, this would be a great solution for security. There's also zk-TLS and all. There are many security layers that can be implemented to avoid what we are doing right now. But the idea here is that you could already get these kits up and running and working for you for an API endpoint or as an npm package. Let me show you. I think I have. Yep. We have this template. Yeah. First of all, we don't have a documentation yet. It was supposed to drop this week, but we want to make it really clean. We want to have clear guides for you to play with it. So just to tell you, we have this README. This README is pretty complete. I think you can already play around as an npm package, as an endpoint, or anything pretty easily. If you have any feedback or all, please feel free to let us know. We will add more informations, but this should be sufficient for you to make it work. We will do also an npm release next week with the latest changes and this approval SNP9 and meta transactions implementation we talked about earlier. And yeah, basically, we will give you the right guides for you to get everything going perfectly and all. So no worries. We also want to have a clear guide for you to contribute, or not even to contribute to agent, but just to extend the agent capabilities, so that it's really easy for you to explore. Talking about exploring, we want also to have a place where you can easily see what are all the methods implemented on a really high level way. We want to make things really high level for users, but also for developers. That's why you can use it as a kit. Right now, we deployed the templates, the Stack templates. It's also available here in our repository. Let me check. It should be. Yep. We have this template, which is really easy to use, and which serves as an example repository for you to get ready. We have same setup, same keys needed, same environment variable needed, and the idea here is that you can. We want you to leverage this kit in your own dApps. For example, imagine let's take a clear example with the ArtPiece implementation we are currently working on. So ArtPiece, I don't know if you know of, it's like the pixel war from Reddit, but on Starknet and completely on chain. It leverages a lot of Starknet capabilities like session keys, account abstraction, and everything. And they came to us and they asked us how could we implement this agent inside ArtPiece. And so our first question was, what are your entry points? What can we do on ArtPiece? What are the interactions? This is something that we also asked to Avenue, like, what can we do on Avenue? Right now we can swap, we can fetch root, we can DCA. Okay, then we can implement that in the kits. any entry point used, any interactions that are promptly used. I'm saying promptly because that's really important. Right now, we cannot do operation for a long time. For example, if you want to index events, we cannot ask the agent to index event for a long time. What we can do is index events, for example, and then when an event is reached, we want, for example, to swap. And instead of having to write the entire swapping function, what we could do is just here await agent executes swap. Here, and then you could just fill out the variables with the fetched data from the indexed events. So this also really improves developer experience. Our goal here is that you can on ArtPiece, for example, they will add a prompt. This prompt will leverage the place pixel method. So what they will do is that they will add here, we are working on it, they will add here type ArtPiece, for example, so that we really want to clearly categorize our model, our methods, our tools, so that someone on the ArtPiece input cannot swap on Avenue, because this is not secure. Like it could select other tools. We want to really restrict the agent to the ArtPiece method, which is here place pixel. And what's great is that, for example, if the model knows how to place a pixel, you could ask him many things. You could ask him, for example, you could first ask him to place one red pixel. So if I remember correctly, the parameters are the color and the position. Place one red pixel on the canvas. So they will have their inputs, and they will just bridge the right variables to an agent execute execution. And you could also do place a red pixel at positions, and let me see if my you could chain operations. So place one pixel here and one pixel here. You could also get crazy and ask him, could you draw a cat by placing pixels? I simulated that in the Claude prompt. So I asked him to simulate an environment where he can only have one function, which is placing pixels, and I asked him then to generate an SVG placing pixels and draw a cat. The cat is really ugly, but he can actually chain like automate placing 20 pixels, and that's crazy because if we want the ArtPiece to showcase Starknet capabilities by unlocking many TPS, for example, a user won't have to click to place pixels. He will be literally a human bot by leveraging the agent capabilities. The user will be able to place multiple pixels with one interaction, and that's something really cool because you could go crazy. We will be adding also next week. Most of the things I'm saying will be added in the coming weeks. We launched the agent like less than 10 days ago, so there's a lot. We had to do a lot of refactor to clean it and to make it a good place for you to implement stuff. So what we want to add also, and we are already working on it, is to being able, for example, to verify a stack proof. And I'm giving this example right now because what do we need to verify a stack proof? We need the stack proof. And to load a stack proof, we need to, I don't know if you've seen a stack proof, but a stack proof is really big. And we don't want to load a stack proof directly to the agent because the agent will then hallucinate on it. The more you give data to the agent, the more it hallucinates. I'm almost sure most of you already played with GPT and Claude every day, and you know that like the more the more context you give, the more it hallucinates. So one solution we have for that is that you will be able to add here a variable, which here could be a stack proof, and it will store the stack proof to a temporary file, a temporary folder, and the tool will be coded to access this temporary folder. So the agent will just be prompted verify a stack proof. He will select the verify stack proof, and the tool will verify if there is actually a stack proof loaded inside the temporary folder. And for the art piece example, this is great because we could load. I don't know how they call it, but I think it's like basically the templates where you can just draw something really like more. Like if you would like to draw Ellie Bensasson face, you will have to load this template, and then this template will have clear positions and colors, but a large amount of pixels defined there. So the idea will be to like fill out this. I think it's stencils. Yeah, fill out this stencil. I could also say of Ellie Bensasson face, and he won't care about it. Could fill out the stencils of Ellie Bensasson face, and I will just load the file, and then a single user will be able to defend through leveraging session keys an entire stencil, like 1,000 of pixels, and this is going to happen really soon with the release of the next RP season. I cannot spoil the date, but it's going to happen really soon. So I'm spamming you right now with a lot of informations, but this is because the possibilities are endless. Like we need to redefine the entire way to communicate with the chain by leveraging what we already have implemented. And that's why this is a massive project, and that's a project that needs you, because we need you to implement new methods. Then we will you will be able to interact with the entire chain. And I'm almost sure, I don't know if you've seen yesterday announcement from OpenAI, which shows an agent live scrapping a browser. I'm almost sure the entire Web 2, the entire Web 3 will be behind the prompts really soon. And no one will interact anymore with user interfaces. So the more robust the methods are, the easier it is for the agent to work. And I think it will reach some point where user interfaces are built for agents to scrap them, not for humans to read them. And then you could ask me, yeah, but imagine I want to see my balances, my token, and all. What like I need a user interface to see them, but today, if you ask OpenAI for the ChatGPT for the meteorology, he will, for the weather, he will answer you how to say that, like a clear output of the meteor. So I believe it will be even easier to get access to visual data also on this prompt. There won't be any user interface by the end of the year, and I'm almost sure about that. That's why this kit is following this innovation, and that's why we need you to complete it and to make it work with the entire network. I'm not sure if I'm via Victor. Are you still here?
I'm still here, yep.
Yeah, sorry, I've been spamming a lot, and there's still 1,000 things to be said on it, but this is only the beginning of the kit, and everything will be referenced on the clear documentation. clear articles for regarding authors about AI and security, because security is really important. This should be coming in the next weeks. We are in collaboration with Starknet, with you, and the foundation, and so we are planning to do crazy things. Those crazy things will be also related to what we are currently doing on Madara. I don't want to spoil you, but at some point you may have physical autonomous agents running on their own sandboxed environment, on their own app chains, and this could happen on Starknet if in the next probably in the next months. Not that much. Everything will move really fast. This is the AI world.
Yeah, this is all insane and like super exciting, and especially for the workshop, you see that you see Starknet's unique capabilities, right? Such as the fact of generating a ZK proof, but also being able to verify that proof on chain. So speaking of those capabilities, how do you see session keys, for example? So like one use case of account abstraction, and especially with Starknet's native account abstraction, like so for instance, session keys and agents, like what are the benefits there, and what are the USPs, like the unique selling points of Starknet?
Yeah, so session keys is great, and we will of course leverage session keys. Session keys allows you to set thresholds, to set specific functionalities to the agent, and also allows you to chain operation without having to always open your wallet, which is something that it's really cool on Starknet, and that's why we say that Starknet is the best play for AI agents. There is one concern I have over security, like allowing $50,000 in a session key doesn't restrain the AI to really swap 10,000 of those 50,000. But it can definitely allow to do many operations and non-critical operations in a really high level way, really close to Web 2. So yeah, I'm really excited about like I've been working on Starknet for the last 3 years, and with agents, everything makes sense now. All the architecture of Starknet makes sense now. All the improvements we have with account abstraction. Also, we want to restrict. For example, like account abstraction could allow us to perform this. We could even give the private key. I could right now give 50K to an AI agent and trust him doing a swap thanks to account abstraction. I could build an account with one method, which will be a safe swap method, for example, and an exit fund methods. And giving him 50K will allow the agent only to do two things. One will be to perform the safe swap, or the other will be to hallucinate endlessly. The safe swap function will be a wrapper around the swap function on Avenue, for example, and ensure that the user never lose more than the slippage, or that the symbols are respected, that the agent won't trade 10 ETH instead of 10 USDC. And that's something really cool with account abstraction, and that makes Starknet the best place also. What we have also, like off-chain signature will allow you to verify in the next months also transactions really fast. We could bring anonymity to the agents thanks to noir contracts that are currently deployable on Starknet. We could allow many things. Verification on chain, agents, thanks to the integrity verifier, we could verify stuff on chain. We have no limits on Starknet, and that's something really cool.
Very cool. And the last question I had, so you've mentioned a couple of times already that you see the absence of interfaces like by the end of the year, but yeah, what do you see within the next 6 months or within the 1 year? Like, what can you say that really makes this vision tangible? So for a user's perspective, assuming that all the applications right now, so be it DeFi or gaming, on any chain, become agentic, have this agentic feature, be it Eliza, be it Daydreams, or the Starknet Agent Kit. How would this experience look like for users?
So for me, in the next let's say next 1,000 days, I'm less than that. In the next 500 days, we will have no more user interfaces. We will also. I'm not really. I know that there are also some initiatives about training open source models, the 8 billion parameter models like Llama 3. I'm not in favor of that because I believe that first of all, training a model is really difficult and needs a lot of data and resources. And some says that it could take 3 to 5 years to get what Claude does right now with its 200 billion parameters to have something similar with a trained model for a specific action here playing with Starknet. So I believe this is also what makes this kit sense is that we will we I'm more in favor about securing 200 billion parameter models than training them because I believe that in less than 3 years, in less than 500 days, we will have something similar to super intelligences that could completely destroy what we are currently building or what those models we are training and allocating resources to can do. So everything will be moving really fast. Of course, on-chain interaction is something that we are close to, but as I said in a tweet recently, in less than 500 days, we will be able to understand whales. We will be able to stream our brain. So for me, it's really difficult to give you a clear vision about the AI future. But this agent gives an immediate answer to it, and the Daydream repository also does a great work for on-chain interactions.
Very cool. I see no questions in the chat, and I think we're also I'm going to wrap up this soon, as we're coming close to the 15-minute mark. But yeah, if we want to get in touch with you, how can our viewers find you?
So I think we want to open a clear channel. We are still thinking about either doing it on Telegram or Discord. Um, tell us what you would prefer, and we will do it. Anyway, you can already talk in the Starknet AI channel. I'm here. I'm on most of Starknet channels, and if you have a problem, you can also open a GitHub issue. We are reviewing them. We are hearing your feedback. So yeah, feel free to communicate that those ways.
Amazing. And we're also going to have future initiatives on doing open source contributions to the Agent Kit. So we have yet to announce it, but we plan to allow anyone to do these contributions and then in return get rewarded. But yeah, so this has been the end of the first workshop for the hackathon. It was a presentation on the Agent Kit, on the Starknet Agent Kit by Antiyro from KasarLabs. The next workshop is on the 29th, and that's with Maya from Starkware on how to get started with client-side proving with Stu. So that's Starkware's next-gen prover. And yeah, I'll see you all on the 29th, and have a good rest of the day and have a good weekend.
Bye.
See you. Ciao, ciao.